Good evening, YouTube universe. This is Don from Define Productions and Troy. This is our first foray into going live on YouTube. If you have not seen our channel before, I'm the Bitcoin Maxi. Troy is the altcoin everything guy. If this is your first time checking us out and you watch a little bit of this and like what you see, please take a moment and like the video and click the subscribe button, write a comment. Let us know what you think about some of the things that we're going to talk about. Really quick, we are coming off of a 36-hour bear market where the price dropped about 10K plus, and we are sitting at currently 67,785 at Bitcoin and 3,500 at Ethereum, and the total market cap of crypto is roughly, according to CoinMarketCap, 2.55 trillion. How are you feeling, Troy?
I'm feeling ecstatic. Yeah, that was a crazy bear market we just had.
Yeah.
You know, it's most people still have, and I could agree, like a slight PTSD from the previous bear market, because I'm so used to, we went through Terra Luna, FTX, we went through so much that I'm so used to having this pullback, and then it's continuing to pull back. Like we did have that slow bleed for like a week. But then we had a lot of great price action today, which we had a nice bounce into today's Fed meeting. And stock market making new all-time highs. So
all three indices ended at an all-time high today. All three: the Nasdaq, S&P, the Dow, all ended at all-time highs. The remarks by Jerome Powell were favorable to markets. Right around the time that Powell was talking, you could see uniformly all of the my son, baseball down but Bitcoin up. It's an inside thing between me and my son. So everything started ripping right around when Powell was talking. I was actually in a meeting at the time, so I didn't get to see it until about 15 minutes after. Stocks started the day up, and then they were actually, at one point they were down. The Nasdaq was down like 100 points, and then everything started ripping once Powell started talking and kind of laying out what he sees to be the future. The markets didn't expect that there would be a rate raise today. I don't think anybody did, but it was the speech that Powell gave and the tone of it that really set the markets on fire today. Probably June will be when they're going to actually start to, lower the rates, at least 25 to 50 basis points. But originally we thought we were going to get six rate decreases, and it looks like we're probably going to get maybe 3. But the market took it in stride, and Bitcoin also earlier today was I believe it was like 61, 62 this morning.
Yeah,
it got low. It got really low. And then that also started to move, and I think we touched for a minute 68 again, but we're right in that range. We're not far off the all-time high, which is around 73K. We're only a couple thousand away. We've had multiple 10K days now, both up and down. So 10,000 in a day to surpass that all-time high is definitely not out of the realm of possibility or something that we couldn't see occur.
I think this was well needed. I think that pullback was a big test on our conviction. I mean, unless you're just holding Bitcoin, I know I'm in plenty of altcoins. I don't know whoever's watching what altcoins you hold, but this was a test of your conviction. Now, this is the truth. Like, now you can reevaluate your portfolio and see, like, okay, is this something I actually want to hold? Because if some of my alts actually had a 40% drawdown, like, it was insane. It actually spooked me out for a little bit. But they're up. They bounce back strong. So use this as a test of conviction.
That's why we don't shitcoin.
We don't shitcoin. Like Geo Budin, I'm not gonna lie. On the Solana blockchain, the amount of transactions, like they surpass Ethereum. Like the activity on Solana is insane. So this is something we do have to talk about, because Solana network activity
What's
is going
on with that? I saw that was at like, what did that top 210?
210.
Did it get to 210?
Yeah.
And then it got down to like 160 something.
Yep, and then it's back at 190 right now. So this is a high beta altcoin, still below its all-time high.
A lot of volatility in that coin.
But if you look at the market cap, this already surpasses all-time high. So, but I feel like market cap, people don't look at market cap in bull runs.
No,
FDV, it's a meme. Like people look at price because it's a psychological thing. Yeah. And technically, Solana, because I think it's like 5 or 6% inflation. No, it's like 4 or 5% inflation on Solana. So the market cap already made an all-time high, but the price is still below its all-time high. It's like 20%. But I'm already starting to scale out on Solana. Even if this goes to 1,000, like I don't want to round trip my bags. I like Solana long term, but I want to pay myself. Like,
Can you explain really quick to the
Yeah.
audience what round trip your bags means? Because maybe not everybody
I
knows
do.
that.
I have been saying that a lot.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
round
Just
round
explain.
tripping your bags is the best way to explain it is if you buy a coin, you make money on it, and you don't sell. You basically hold it back down to your entry point. And what happens is when you start to make money in crypto, and it hits your price target. For example, you want to get out at 100, and it hits 100, but then you move the goal post, and it's through greed. It's through because you're greedy and you're not thinking rationally. You're very euphoric, and you keep pushing that goalpost. Now you have to stick to a systematic plan and scale out of your position. I say this all the time: just dollar cost average out of your position, because even if you miss out on some gains, that's okay. No one went broke taking profits, and from my experience, especially in the 2021 bull run, I kept pushing back the goalpost. I kept coming up with things in my mind. Okay, my life is going to be so much better. I'm going to make so much more money. And then what happens is I rode that coin right back down to basically zero. So the least you can do is just make a trade risk free. The least you can do is lock in complete profits, and it's risk free. That's the best approach I think you could take, but. That's if you're shitcoining.
Let's dive into some news.
Let's do it.
As we like to do, we scour Twitter, day of our podcast, to see what the movers and shakers in the space, or the haters in the space, are saying. And I'm going to start with a hater first. But what he tweeted was actually something I agree with. Peter Schiff, everybody's favorite hater of Bitcoin, he tweeted at 5:08 p.m. today, if the Fed actually was serious about bringing inflation down to 2%. It would neither be cutting interest rates nor slowing the pace of QT. Interest rates are still too low, and the Fed's balance sheet is still too large. The Fed is acting to benefit Biden and financial markets. So I'm curious of what you think about that statement.
Is this the one from the Wolf of Wall Street?
No, this is Peter Schiff.
Okay.
Take your time.
Yeah,
Nobody's
I'm reading
watching.
this. The Fed. Yeah, I mean, we are coming up to elections, so I feel like the way like the Fed are gonna react to certain like metrics, I feel like they're gonna like definitely try to make it so it benefits Biden and his election and his team coming up. So like, I mean, I'm different. Like I'm unique. Like I don't trade fundamentals. Like I just trade like. Are you talking about as far as like trading and how I'm gonna react to the news?
No, I'm just talking about how you think the Fed, if you think the Fed is acting in the capacity that it's supposed to be acting, which is neutral,
Yeah.
or do you think that they're being in some sort of way manipulated, influenced by the fact that we are in an election year and the fact that, they say this every election cycle, so I say it tongue in cheek that this is the most important election that we will ever see. But I mean, they say that every time.
Yeah, we say that.
But do you think
Definitely.
do you think that there's some pressure being put on behind the scenes
I definitely think
to tell them that this is how you need to be react? I mean, because honestly, today, like if you just look at today, the fact that we moved in all markets is up as we did, and basically we started the day and we ended the day the same way that we thought it was going to be. Rates weren't going to be raised. Like people like. The odds were like in the high 90s that it wasn't going to be raised. So it's not like it was a surprise.
Yeah.
So it's basically the speech that he gave was really
his
what.
tonality.
So that I think is where you see the influence.
Yeah.
Is how he's speaking and what he's saying. And I think it's hard to argue against the fact that he's being influenced by outside forces, either intentionally or unintentionally, because he's human. He may also just not want to like make things go in either. It may not necessarily be that he's supporting, the Biden administration's agenda. He may just want to try to not do anything real crazy to make it go in any direction. And in effect, he's influencing things by doing that. Is the point that I'm trying to make.
Do you think he'll be like? I don't want to get like too crazy political, but like, let's say Trump gets elected. Do you think like he's going to make some? I don't think Gary Gensler. I think he'll be fired. I don't think he'll be around much longer. I think he's
I honestly don't think Gensler makes it regardless of who wins.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to. I think you don't do it because it's an election year.
Yeah.
It just looks bad for the incumbent administration. But I think he's just been so beaten down in Congress by both sides of the aisle that I think after the election season, either he's just going to take a job at some cushy Wall Street firm, or they're just going to say, pack your bags and
what about
go.
Powell?
Well, Powell's been in office for both of the Trump administration and for the Biden administration, and neither one made a move. So him is a little bit less certain.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how this reduction in rates go and how the markets react, and if we get that recession that everybody keeps thinking was going to happen, if that occurs or not. While we're sitting here too, I'm seeing. I didn't realize this because I'm not following it as closely, but gold hit another all-time high today.
I did see that today. Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Schiff, because I'm on his thing now. It says despite consistent outflows all year, GLD finished today at a record high. Closed the evening spot gold is at a new all-time high, trading above 2,200 for the first time ever. I'll be discussing this in Powell's dovish press conference on tonight's live podcast. So, gold is definitely the turtle in this race.
Terrible.
Again, I've been having a lot of back and forth, and again, I'm trying to reduce some of this because it's not at the end of the day it's not very beneficial. But I've been having back and forth with the anti-Bitcoiners, and for whatever reason, the ones that I've been having the back and forth with the most lately are gold and silver guys. And for those that know my story, that have followed our podcast at all, my foray into Bitcoin was through gold and silver. I was originally gold and silver, and you'll never hear me in this podcast ever talk like you should never have gold and silver. Like I've even said that having some of that in your portfolio is not a bad idea. So I don't hate gold and silver. I just don't think that. I don't know how somebody that understands gold and silver to the capacity that these guys do. I had a conversation and I said basically they're like one layer above being Bitcoiners. Like they just need to go that extra layer down to really like get the meat and potatoes to like go down the rabbit hole. And they're just, for whatever reason, either it's because how tied they are monetarily to gold. Like Peter Schiff has Schiff Gold Investments.
Right,
so I mean, he's basically incentivized to have that view. Plus he's branded himself in such a way that he's anti-Bitcoin. I think it would almost be disappointing at this point if he became a Bitcoiner.
I know.
But some of these other guys that are younger, that are into like gold and silver, and they speak like gold and silver is going to outperform Bitcoin. It's like, where is your proof for that? Yeah. You can't say, well, gold's been around for 5,000 years, because even if you look at the beginning, it's still taking gold at 0 to 2,200 over 5,000 years still doesn't outpace 0 to 73,000. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, at no point in time does the chart of gold or silver look remotely close to how the Bitcoin chart looks.
What's Bitcoin up? Or gold up? Isn't it like up 100% in like 20 years? Like, isn't it like a crazy like?
No. Oh, in 20 years? Maybe in 20 it might be. But
insane.
In the great financial crisis of 2008, I think it topped out at 1,900, right around 1900. And that was in 2008, 2009. And then we had a bear market for gold where it went down to like 1,100. So it went from 1,900 to 1,100.
Yeah.
So from 1,100, 2,200 would actually be a 100% double up from the bottom. But I mean, what are we talking about here?
I think we're at a point where I don't even think having gold in your portfolio should even be a discussion. You know what I mean? Like
I disagree. I do disagree with that.
Are you talking about like physical gold bars, or are you talking about an ETF? Or are you talking about
physical
are you talking
gold?
about
No,
like
I'm advocating for physical gold.
Physical gold?
ETFs and paper contracts on gold. I feel the same way about paper
gold contracts. I would love to hear your thought process on that.
In which way?
Your thoughts on like why hold physical gold when you can just buy more crypto or more Bitcoin?
I'm not saying that I'm going to have an overwhelming majority of anything in gold or silver. I still have silver. I don't think I have gold anymore. I can't remember.
Silver.
I still have silver for sure. I don't think I have any gold anymore.
I stopped buying. And what'd you buy?
I did. Bought Bitcoin, but I kept some silver only because it's like the amount of silver to liquidate is just like it's what $25, $26 an ounce. I mean, I gotta go liquidate 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 ounces to even get anything
I'll buy some gold.
of value. But like that doesn't mean that I don't think if you're gonna invest in gold and silver, don't buy the ETF. Like the guys that are like GLD, like no. If I'm gonna own Bitcoin, I'm owning Bitcoin self-custody. I want the piece of the block. I want the ownership. Yeah. We're gonna talk about something in regards to ownership in a little while too, which will drive it home. But like if I'm gonna own gold, Or if I'm going to own silver, I'm going to own gold and silver. I'm
Yeah.
going to put it in my safe physically. But again, here's the problem. Even with that ownership of that physical property, like the fungibility, the portability, like the
It's
ability,
terrible,
it's still not ideal. But I'd rather have that than the paper contract.
Because I was just thinking, like, let's say, like, I wanted to, like, because I don't think I'm going to live in my apartment. And let's say I want to go backpacking, right? I was just thinking how terrible and how uncomfortable that would make me feel. Not just the portability factor, just the fact that it's heavy. Like, I wouldn't want to carry around silver coins in today 2024. You know what I mean? And it's like, especially if I didn't have a safe house. You know, not everyone's going to have a place where they can feel safe putting that. You know, I'm sure you can say the same about a seed phrase, but I'm sure you can find a small piece of paper and you can find.
There's still people advocating on Twitter, finance people on Twitter advocating for holding cash right now. I that is just like if it's between cash or physical gold and silver, like physical gold and silver, and it's not even a question.
What's crazy is I actually am bullish cash.
Oh, you got to explain that one.
No,
to me.
like I really
gotta
genuinely
explain
think
that to me.
really genuinely think we're gonna have a huge recession, and I want to have a bunch of cash to buy like these assets. Like, have you looked at like a lot of these AI coins? Like,
See, this is a good conversation that we can have right now.
Let's
This
have
is
it.
good for the viewers. I see why you say that, and I see what your
But not
ideology is for
100%
that.
big
No.
cash.
I understand why you think that. And again, I'm going to say this when I don't think you should ever not have cash. Like, I still have some cash on the side. Like, I don't think having no cash on the side is the answer either. But to think that you need like large sums of cash if a recession were to hit, although I believe that one won't, and I'm going to tell you why in a second as well. If you have good assets that you can liquidate that hold their value, why hold the cash? Because the cash is devaluing because of money printing
right.
at a rapid pace. But if I can hold an asset that's outpacing cash, I can always liquidate that asset and beat whatever I would have held in cash.
Yeah.
If let's say I hold $20,000 in cash and I hold it for the next 2 years waiting for that recession,
Yeah.
but I buy an asset for 20 grand now, if the recession hits, certain assets are still going to perform, and maybe I have 40,000 instead of the 20,000 I have sitting in cash getting 5%, and now I have 22,000 or 23,000 to deploy when I could have had 40.
Right. And
So I see what you're saying, but the flip side of that is, and you're in the group chat with me and all the other defines, if any of them are watching, you hear me use this term all the time. Like, the perpetual money printing is just stopping a recession from ever occurring. And if you don't believe me, we should have had one. 2022 was all the ingredients for a recession.
yeah.
And if it didn't happen in 2022, that was the lagging effect. We should be in one now, right? We should have been in one in 2022, or we should be in one now. And the only reason we're not is because the money printers cannot be turned off for a whole plethora of reasons. So I don't think we ever get a recession. I think we just get a system reset, or the actual just like systematic collapse.
So you're saying you don't think we're gonna ever get a recession? That's top signals. That's top signals. You think that like, because like historically we do have like stock market bear markets. You know, you think they're just gonna keep printing and printing and printing, and it's either
when was our last bear market since the Great Financial Crisis?
we had like coronavirus. We had a technically.
Yeah, it lasted 2 months.
Yeah,
Not even.
yeah. And
And then we had
more
one in
money.
2019.
Yeah.
We had one in 2019, and that lasted.
Jeez.
They literally were turning the printers off. They were trying for the first time to turn the printers off, and that caused a recession in 2019. And they said, "Oh shit," and turned it back on.
Yeah. So you think the boomers just kicked the can down for so long? It's
I
just-
think Satoshi Nakamoto realized before anybody else that the great financial crisis in 2008 was eliciting, at the time, the greatest influx of cash that we had ever seen to the system, and that he saw that as a catalyst for a time period that we could never go back to. No, go back from. I think he saw perpetual money printing, and he was looking to create something that could combat the perpetual money printing. Because yes, we haven't had real live bear markets that have lasted like a couple of years. Like, even 2022 really wasn't that bad of a bear market, and we bounced right back way over all that. Like, we've gained every single thing back plus some after that 12-month, whatever you want to call that, cool off. period, right? Bear market should last a couple of years.
Yeah.
You get 7 years of a bull, then you should get some years of bear, or at least like flat static activity. We haven't had that since 2008. 2008, 16 years ago. We're double. We have had 2 bull markets like back to back. So my question is like, what constitutes a recession? And a recession is like two negative quarters.
Yeah.
We've had some of that, but they're fudging those numbers.
Yeah.
So we don't even know if that's true or not.
Right.
And having a period of actual like depression of assets for an extended period of time, we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Really seen that, right? So like 2008 to 2024, that's never happened in the history of our economics.
So this is like uncharted territory.
Unprecedented territory.
Yeah.
So you say that you're waiting for a recession. I really thought if we were going to have one, it was going to be this sort of intense rate hike like we've never seen, and we were going to get like 2022 was going to be a catalyst for like a little bit of time, at least in equities. I still believe that crypto was going to do what crypto was going to do because that's on a whole different level, but I really believe equities were going to be down for a minute.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it just didn't. It just didn't. And that's because they're printing so much money. There's so much money printed that equities literally cannot lose their values because the money goes through all the money goes into the things that rich people believe have values. Real estate, equities, like fine art, like all these things are sucking great in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All the great assets identified by smart people is sucking all of this cash, inflating the values. So your equity prices go up, your real estate prices go up, your Bitcoin prices go up. Gold is even finally getting some love as well. So all your sound assets or what is identified by people as sound assets are going up in value, while the dollar is continuing to lose the value, right? You go to the store and things keep going up higher and higher, so your dollar is losing money, which goes back to me disagreeing with you at the beginning by saying I believe that you should be holding cash. Because even if, which I don't think will happen, but I could be wrong because I'm not perfect, even if we get that recession, you don't want to hold the cash because the assets are sucking all that cash liquidity, and you could just liquidate that and have more than what you'd have if you just kept that cash in the bank.
No, that was a really great point. And also we have like, and I do want to talk into like the products we have now for Bitcoin to actually take out leverage, like loans against it and cash loans against it. I think that's huge because I want a game plan, and my game plan for this is a crypto podcast. You know, we have to have a plan, and my plan is I want to cash into Bitcoin and I want to have these products. Do you have that article or what kind of that product that, because the products are getting way better for Bitcoin.
I do not, because I still do not possess confidence that they're going to do the job. The article that I sent you was ETF based.
Yeah.
BlackRock.
Okay.
So, and I believe that's where it'll start.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to own the ETFs directly.
Never?
Why? I'll probably never directly own them. I'll probably indirectly own them if I continue to put money in a 401k through a job. I'll indirectly own them at some point, but to directly own them, I don't think I ever will. So I'm waiting for the products to mature to a place where the
More
actual
safe.
physical Bitcoin can be used to get. But again, like you'll see it happen with the ETFs where BlackRock, Fidelity, these large broker houses will create these products where you can use your asset, which would be what you think is Bitcoin, but is just paper contract of Bitcoin, and use that to borrow against, to get cash, to save on taxes by still owning the underlying asset, which you believe to be the Bitcoin, which is the ETF.
So you're saying like a world where we have like a DApp, where we can connect our cold or hot wallet, and where you feel comfortable to actually connect your hot wallet to like a DApp or a website where you can take a loan out against your Bitcoin.
There's probably I don't see a world initially where you're not going to have to take your Bitcoin out of cold storage, self custody, and put it on some sort of platform. To get
collateral,
leverage, or to get access to some kind of fiat loan or some kind of loan that will bring value from that coin. I initially I don't see any world,
like
especially
staying
the
on
fact
a ledger or something.
Especially the fact that so many people don't self-custody anyways. So why would you start with the small demographic of Bitcoiners and try to, although the small demographic of Bitcoiners probably have the most value of it. But I think if you're trying to do, and you're worried about fees, because it doesn't necessarily mean how much you're making your money on the fees per se. So if I can hit a lot of the guys that have less Bitcoin and hit them with the same % fees, the volume will make up for the people that are like, I'm not giving up my self-custody Bitcoin. But I think at some point it will mature to a place where they'll figure out a way, I think, that you can use your keep your keys, where you share the keys I'm not really sure. That's way beyond my scope of complete understanding to try to explain that. But as of today, right now, the products that do exist, I am not confident, and I would not borrow whatever you want to call it.
There's
too much risk. There's way too much risk, and I believe that there will be a day where the same way that you take your property, borrow against, and get a loan, and you have little to no worry about you losing your real estate unless you do something really stupid, that there'll be a day where that'll be the same sort of par with your Bitcoin. And we're not there yet. But the ETF borrowing that's going to be starting with BlackRock and Fidelity is the starting building blocks of that.
I do want to pivot towards, because we just got some news today about Ethereum being a security. You know, the SEC is coming full force at Ethereum, and we've seen what happened to Solana when they came at Solana for being a security, and that was when Solana was at $12. Ethereum's at what? It was at $3,100. It dipped down to $3,100 when that breaking news came out. Went right up to $3,500. So like, I'm interested to see like how this plays out. I think this is their way. I know BlackRock just deposited $100 million into an Ethereum address. Maybe this is more manipulation. Maybe we're seeing it in full blast. Everything's transparent, recorded on the blockchain and the ledger. So this could be potentially, and I know BlackRock owns the SEC. So like, it's kind of funny how it's playing out, seeing the manipulation.
Well, let's be careful with the words. They don't own them in the fact that they run the SEC. They're just they're Gary's his bitch, basically, is what we're trying to say. Yeah.
Gary's his what?
His bitch.
No, we can curse a little bit, but yeah. So that's interesting to see a little bit of manipulation, and then seeing the price get off. I think this next leg up, it's gonna be insane, but it's just like when are they gonna end? Like we already know it's not a security. Like we've had Gary Gensler at MIT speak publicly.
How do we know it's not a security?
What?
How do we know it's not a security?
What?
Ethereum.
Because we've already argued all this. It's not. It's a commodity.
How?
I mean, what do you mean how?
Definition of a security.
Where you can buy and sell. I mean, what do you mean?
They had an initial coin offering.
Yes. So you're on the side of it being a security.
The original release of the coin was for profit.
Right.
The thought of getting that coin.
You are not a security guy.
I'm studying for this testing stuff right now. So like I'm reading about these definitions. Like when you're releasing something, and the intent of the release into the eyes of the individuals getting that product believe that they're taking it for profit, makes it a security.
Couldn't that say the same thing with Bitcoin?
No, because Bitcoin was released with no value. There was the value transfer was Satoshi to Hal, Satoshi to, and it had little to no value, and people were mining it and throwing it away. And Satoshi, in all intents and purposes, doesn't exist because nobody knows who he is, and there's no central player that's controlling things. With Ethereum and every other shitcoin,
and XRP,
with every other shitcoin, you have a centralized system of people that hold either a majority of the coins, which is just about all of them, or people that can change the protocols right from under you. Like if you look at like a company like Apple, or you look at any of these other like publicly traded companies, like they have boards of directors and stuff like that, but they can't just make major like changes without certain like protocols in place. Vitalik can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm forking this thing 17 different ways since Sunday, and this is everybody's got extra, and just create mass chaos. And you're going to have an ETF that's going to be following this price, and you have this absolute chaotic event occur because some asshole just decided he was going to do it right? And again, I've said this before. I don't necessarily think Vitalik's a bad actor, and I think he's got the right intentions. But it doesn't matter because if you start, here's the problem: if you start with Ethereum and you make that a commodity, like you said, then how do you not say Solana's not one? How do you not say XRP's not one? How do you not say Dog with Hat isn't one? Like, everybody has an argument because you let that one, who distinctly started a certain way and had things occur, like the DAO hack, like big things happen in its history that you can be like, wait a minute, it doesn't seem right. And some of these other coins that are way more centralized than Ethereum and have way more problems than Ethereum don't have the history that Ethereum has. And they're going to say, hold on a second. Now we're playing favorites? You're letting Ethereum go? Why can't I go? Now you have an influx of all these shit coins that have no business having an ETF. And I don't agree with Gary on just about anything except for how we views Ethereum. And I don't like I don't like that he's been vague. That's the problem that I have. He's like wishy-washy on just answering the question. Just come out and say, because you're a finance guy, Ethereum is a security.
But if you're talking about security being a security, you're talking about everything in ethos being securities.
Except for Bitcoin.
So you think Bitcoin's the only commodity, everything's a security?
Yes.
And you think, what are the chances of us getting an ETF in May?
For Ethereum?
Yeah.
Close to zero.
Close to zero?
If not, I just don't say zero because nothing's 100%.
Yeah.
But
how
damn sure.
So you're
close.
confident it's in May?
I'm confident by May. I'm very confident.
Should we make a live bet?
Oh, how many satoshis?
I don't know. We can do. Let's do a live bet. I'm confident we're gonna get an Ethereum ETF.
Okay, May what? May 1st? May 31st?
No, by the end of May.
Is there 31 days in May?
Yeah, by the end of May.
So by May 31st.
By June 1st.
So
we'll have an ETF.
You have May 1st at 12:59 p.m. 11:59, 12:59. 11:59
just anytime by June 1st.
Anytime by June
2025.
That there will be an ETF trading.
It'll be approved. Yeah. ARK, BlackRock.
So there's a difference because Bitcoin was approved and it didn't trade for like a couple days.
It will be approved. It doesn't have to trade. Because I know it takes a few days. It doesn't have to be a crazy bet. Just like something. Just so
I want the bet. I'm just trying to lock this down.
Because you're saying you're 0%.
I'm not saying zero. I'm saying close
to zero. So let's say 5%.
I will give you
95%. It doesn't get approved.
I'll give you 5%.
That's crazy.
Why?
Because people.
Can you explain to me why that's crazy?
I just think it's crazy.
What gives you the confidence? What gives you the confidence with Gary Gensler, who hates Ethereum?
It's all FUD, dude.
Who hates Ethereum?
I really think it's all FUD. I think it's all market manipulation.
So who benefits? Who benefits with an Ethereum
The institutions.
ETF? How?
Because they're gonna.
You don't think Larry Fink got to be Larry Fink?
I don't think they'll be staking. I think they'll just.
You don't think Larry Fink got to be Larry Fink and got to be the head of BlackRock, $10 trillion under management by not meticulously
$100
understanding what things are and the natural risks that people don't see by putting your stamp onto something?
Yeah.
Is there money to be made in an ETF for ETH? Of course.
Do you think it's not going to happen this cycle? Do you think it's eventually going to happen later down the road? Because I'm still making the bet.
I will not say never, because I think get Gensler out, get somebody more crypto friendly in, and when I say crypto friendly, shitcoiner, right? Not Bitcoiner, shitcoiner. So I think somebody else coming in, we're gravitating, because even the guys in Congress who we think are Bitcoiners are still shitcoiners. They still like all these other coins on top of that. They are advocates for Bitcoin. They are advocates for the ecosystem, but they still don't fundamentally understand Bitcoin because they like these other shitcoins, or they believe these shitcoins have value. And I think that eventually we probably will get. And I think and if I'm being totally honest, I think it'll be chaos if Ethereum gets approved and we get one. I just think it causes chaos. I think they're fine the way they are. The ETF for Bitcoin was enough for the entire ecosystem because Bitcoin is the granddaddy. Bitcoin got through the door. Now Bitcoin is free to do what it didn't do last cycle. It'll do that and more this cycle, and everybody can jump on for the ride, and everybody can be fine. Why do we want to F this up by inviting all these other ones into the door who have bad actors? Again, I'm not necessarily saying ETH, but everybody behind that. Do you trust Richard Hart? Do you trust Brad Garlinghouse?
They're not going to have an ETF for all of them.
Justin Sun? Do you trust
but
the point is, like, they have legitimate arguments by saying, what about us?
Yeah.
If you're allowing Ethereum, what about us? What makes them so much better? Their price, their market cap? Like, then you got Solana coming in here, yo.
Strong
Then
argument.
Solana's like, yo, like,
Fully.
Solana can be like, hey, we're the 5th biggest one in this race. Like, where are we at?
So I was trying to read, when I saw that, I was trying to read about the security stuff. And I know a little bit about what securities are, but I was confused because to me, when I was looking into this, it seemed like make it a security so the government could regulate it. I feel like it's a backdoor way of getting around the fact that they don't like these coins. They don't like crypto at all because they feel like it's a threat. If I'm a political guy, if I'm a politician, and I'm in the government, and I'm an elected official, is this their weird way of trying to get control of something that they can't control?
Making it an ETF?
By making it a security.
No, making it a security is basically just identifying what the asset is. It makes it easy for the market to recognize, feel a certain way about investing in it. It's supposed to, in the book definition, it's really supposed to give investors security, basically, in the fact of them investing in this asset and understanding there's certain risks. And the risks being if it performs, but not risks like you're going to be rug pulled because they're going to take every dollar out of this and you're going to be sitting there like, what the hell just happened, right? So it's for investor protection at the end of the day. So if it got an ETF, you're basically saying stamp of approval, investor protection, right? Why Bitcoin is safe, right? And again, if tomorrow Satoshi came out of the woodwork and was like, hey guys, what's up? My whole view on everything, my whole world changes. The whole world changes, right? The whole world. Now I'm just like, oh my God.
I don't
now
know.
What, right?
Speechless.
So the chance of that happening again is like less than 1%. It would have had. There's so many opportunities, and so we're not even talking about that. But what I'm saying is, you have that with every other coin, right?
Like founders and stuff.
You have people that have majority stake and have control over protocol that can make all these changes that BlackRock's going to stake a reputation for, or not even BlackRock, because BlackRock gets like a pass to make certain mistakes, but like some of these other players, like below Fidelity and BlackRock, like these other like broker houses, like that don't have the same sort of like, are they going to want to like stake reputation with the people that they have in their house? Because like you mess up, they get an ETF with you, and you're like the 5th, 6th guy in the totem pole, and then some random thing happens, and ETH blows up, and these dudes got like 7, 8 figures in these ETFs, and they're just like, what the hell? Like, I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. You screwed up. You're no good, right? Are they going to want to stake their reputation on that? Like, they will, like I said, they will make money. These ETFs will make money. But do you want to risk your reputation on a product that is out of, like, Larry Fink can't control it.
Yeah.
He has no control. Vitalik has the control of that ETF.
Yeah.
Do you think Larry Fink, I mean, I know he says that they're filing and all this stuff, but I think if he really gets a fundamental understanding, do you really want this other guy to have control? Unless something behind the scenes where Larry Fink is going to make a deal with Vitalik and he's like, yo, guess who's on the ETH Foundation now? Larry Fink. Just joined the ETH Foundation, brother. And any move you make has got to go through Uncle Larry.
Now, if that happens, my whole thought process on crypto is my whole viewpoint has changed because, like, that's
Mine would stay the same.
Yeah,
I would have no
because it's you're expecting that because it's a foundation.
Not necessarily expecting that, but like having founders and having like people you can be taken over.
Yeah.
Who you can't again with Bitcoin. You can't take it over.
Yeah.
Michael Saylor, I don't care what he says, would love to take over Bitcoin. If you don't know that by now, with all this dude is a madman. This price drops 10K and he's buying 5,000 more coins.
We should real quickly, and we'll stay on subject. He just bought additional. How much Bitcoins did he? He just made a.
He has officially reached the 1% of the.
He's the king of.
He has 210.
buying.
MicroStrategy has over 10,000 coins now.
So he's at least 1% holder.
He has at least 1%, and he has more than that because of all the lost coins and stuff like that. But like,
that's crazy. No, I completely understand your viewpoint because it's like a decentralized protocol. Like no one owns it, no one has control over it.
I would love.
They trust that.
I would love people either if you're watching live or if you're gonna watch this on our playback when we edit this. I would love if people would give like feedback on how they feel about
Yeah.
this conversation
Yeah.
because I know that people get excited about the ETF and people got excited
Well,
about
that
the
could be a
Bitcoin.
good, that could be a good title too.
People got excited about the Bitcoin ETF, and you're super like bullish and excited and seem
Well,
to
I'm
want
making a bet. We still
seem to
haven't
wanna
shook
throw your-
hands.
satoshis away to.
I will. That'll be interesting. Let's see. How many satoshis? Because I guarantee satoshis will be a lot more expensive.
Let's just do 100,000 satoshis just to make it easy. 100K sats. Right now that's almost $70. By the time June comes along, that might be $110. 100K sats.
100K?
100K sats. 100K sats that there will not be. I say that there will not be. There will not be a
That's all you got?
There will not be a Bitcoin. I'm sorry. There will not be an Ethereum ETF by June 1st, and you say that there will be, and the loser pays the winner.
All right. If
100,000
Ethereum
satoshis.
is approved, your son gets to go into late to school, and I
Can-
get 100,000.
Can I go
sats.
late to school tomorrow? That's. You're
So
gonna
again,
ask
it doesn't have to be operation. It just has to be approved.
It just
has to be approved.
Not
Just has to be approved.
Just
It
has to
doesn't
be
have to be
approved.
available.
Because
It
that's the
just
deadline.
has to be
so
approved.
like they have to make a choice. Like, yes.
Cash. We'll talk about it when I get home.
He's too busy getting educated, watching the podcast that he's gonna be tired for school.
He is. My son is a. My son
Bitcoiner.
is a Bitcoiner. He is a owner of a piece of the blockchain in self custody, so he gets some respect in that. Yes, I want to talk about that next. Thank you for bringing that up. I actually have that here. So we're talking about ownership. Okay, I'm gonna read this article to you. I can't even believe I had to fact check this because in this day and age, you just have to do these types of things because you don't know if these are real or not.
yeah.
This is 100% real, and it's
look at
it's
this.
disgusting. I'm on record saying this, I'm sure, but I'll reiterate it. I absolutely despise the state that I reside in, which is New York State. And the first chance that I get once I'm retired, I will get the heck out of this state, even if it's for 6 months, to have residency in some other state that's not NYS. But this happened in this state, and it is on the books as a law, which I can't even believe.
I'm reading this too. Yeah.
A woman gets arrested for removing squatters out of her $1 million home in Queens, New York. Adele Andalaro inherited her family's home in Flushing, Queens after her parents passed away and was in the process of selling it when she noticed that someone illegally moved in. After she changed the lock, the squatters came back and the police arrested her, the owner, according to the New York landlord-tenant law. In New York, the shittiest state in the whole United States, it's against the law to turn off the utilities, change the locks, and remove the belongings of someone who claims to be a tenant. Not a monthly paying tenant, just some shitbag that comes into your house and squats there in your $1 million house that you own, not them, that you got to pay all these bullshit taxes to this bullshit government and state. They can come in and arrest you, the owner, for trying to kick the dirtbag out that came into your spot. That is a real thing in this state of New York. And you wonder why we Bitcoin. And I wonder why you don't.
Wait. So what do you mean a squatter? What does that mean?
A squatter is an individual that is basically a homeless person that would, like if they went into an abandoned house and were living in an abandoned house, they're doing that in a house that's not abandoned. It's being renovated to be sold or whatever. Or even somebody, you could go on vacation. Let's say you go to vacation to Florida for 6 months. Yeah. Somebody comes in your house and you come back and say, hey, like you're in my house. In New York State, they can say, my house now. Call the cops on you.
That makes no sense.
That's the point. That is the point, sir.
There's something missing in this.
That is not missing. That's the law. It is
That's a law?
It's the law in New York State. She was arrested.
That's a law.
She was arrested.
If someone breaks in your house and sleeps in it and says it's my house now.
And inside in this article on Twitter, there's another one where in Seattle a similar thing occurred. squatter granted restraining order against landlord by Washington state judge. And there's a plethora of people, if you look here, that are outside protesting. Washington neighbors demand squatter to be removed. They're just going in these liberal states, New York being a liberal state, these blue states have these ridiculous laws on the books that allow people that are homeless to just pick a house. You know, I got to pay my large amount of taxes every year. I would love to. Can I just go, like, when somebody moves out, can I just go squat in that house and just not pay? Like, they're paying, you pay nothing. Like, why would you want to buy a house? Why would you want to pay tax? Why would you feel good about, like, and I said this in the group chat, and I said it tongue in cheek, like, people are like, oh, I'm excited to pay my taxes because it means I made more money. It's like, yeah, miss me with that nonsense. You'll never see me excited or looking forward to paying taxes to these asshats that create these ridiculous laws to do their best to keep me in my place.
Yeah. No, that's absurd. Insanity. And it's only in the blue states, you're saying? Like California.
You see this in Democratic-run states.
Yeah.
California, yep, that's another one that happens in.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. I don't even want to get into it. But yeah, on the bright note, I mean, this is our first live. I think I would love to, like, go back and see, like, how this went. For you guys that are tuning in, give us a like, subscribe. You know, see what you guys think, because normally we do Facebook, but it's different tone on YouTube. I kind of like it.
Same.
So we have a little bit more time here. Do you have any more thoughts about the financial?
Yeah, real quick. Let's talk about Coinbase. Your favorite,
my favorite exchange.
Your favorite exchange, where you said, "Oh, I think they're really going to get their stuff together." You know,
they custody for all the institutions.
Coinbase had a status up on their page earlier. May experience intermittent failures because the price was moving. This was at 1:00 p.m.
So it seems like when there's high volatility, when the market's congested, Coinbase they went down? Because I don't use Coinbase. Did they go down? Is that what?
Yeah, they were down. Yep.
Again?
Yep.
This is not going to be sustainable in the bull run. This is why you got to get off an exchange and get in cold storage, self custody. Because when things move fast, you want to be able to, like, either enter, buy the dip. If you want to buy the dip, you're not going to be able to buy the dip on a Coinbase. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
So
I don't know what the answer is, because that's just not good. It's not good for the ecosystem. It's not good for the users.
It's not good for anyone.
Well, I can update
Gemini.
Yeah, I can give you an update on that.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Let me read that, because I have an email.
That's actually really cool. Dude, what's funny is because, like, Gemini, you were forced to hodl. Like, imagine someone that lost, some crypto from the Gemini earn, and they were forced to hodl through the bear market, because a lot of people probably would have sold. You would think, right? Like, they would have panic sold early in the bear or later in the bear. So
yeah, I mean, there's
they
people
were forced to hodl.
There's people with significant bags on there of Bitcoin, of Ethereum, and alternative coins as well. I'm sure that they had what they thought they were getting interest on that ended up, at first we thought we lost them. So I'm gonna read this real quick. It's a little long, but I'll read rather quickly. Real quick synopsis. Gemini Earn was the platform that you could take your assets from the Gemini exchange side, and you could put them on the Earn side and earn a yield depending on the coin. You got a certain interest in, my dumbass had 2.38 ETH on there, and I was earning every time I talk about it, it's embarrassing. And I got caught up in that because I waited too late after FTX collapsed to make a move. So I thought they were gone. I was like, that ETH is gone.
Yeah, you already wrote that off.
Been wrote. I don't even count it in my portfolio anymore. But pretty soon I will be.
And you'll be an ETH maxi.
We are writing to provide you an update on the required notice. Today, Genesis, and this was yesterday, the 19th, they had a court date. Genesis asked the bankruptcy court to approve the settlement in principle announced on February 28, 2024, which provides for a global settlement with Genesis and other creditors in the Genesis bankruptcy that will, if approved by the bankruptcy court, result in all Earn users receiving 100% of their digital assets back in kind, approximately 97% in the near term, and then the remainder as recoveries are received from DCG. This notice marks the start of the required bankruptcy court approval settlement process. No action is required on your behalf. As a reminder, this settlement, for example, if you had 1 Bitcoin lent in the EARN program as of November 16th, 2022, the date Genesis suspended redemption, you will receive 1 Bitcoin back. And it means that you will receive any and all appreciation of your assets since you let them in the EARN program. I looked the day that November 16th, ETH was at like $1,400 a coin.
Yeah.
So you're basically getting, as of right now, like 2,100 on
Yeah.
each coin on top.
Oh, only 21
Well,
plus the 14.
1,400
Yeah.
plus the 21.
That's
and then
awesome.
basically it says to go down a little bit further.
How do you collect that? Is it
Again,
just gonna show up in your account?
no action is required on your part unless you object. Who the hell's going to object? In that case, objections are due by April 9th, and they'll tell you that you're an idiot. Creditors who send the bankruptcy court an objection and that is not signed by an attorney, yada, yada, yada. The bankruptcy court will consider approval of the settlement at a hearing scheduled for April 16th, 2024 at 11 a.m. So on April 16th will be that where the bankruptcy court will decide. I can't imagine. I mean, people are getting 100% back. What court's going to say, no, you can't do that? So it's just a formality at this point. The settlement will not become effective until it has been approved by the bankruptcy court, so that would be April 16th. As a reminder, you can view the assets that will be returned to you if the settlement is approved by logging your Gemini coin through the Gemini website. And as a reminder, pending balances will be restored in kind, with approximately 97% being distributed initially and the remainder in full. So for me, I looked, it would be like I should get back 2.26, roughly 2.27 of the 2.38.
It was just ETH, right? That's all.
Just ETH, that's all I had in there. Yeah, that's all I was
That's
done for.
sweet.
Further updates regarding timelines will continue to be posted to the EARN update page. Yeah, so I mean,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I mean,
Congratulations. You're welcome to the
what-
Ethereum
I mean,
side.
I am
Because that's what 3,600. It's almost like 7,500. Like that's good. But then are you gonna roll it in a Bitcoin? Or are you gonna hold it in ETH?
I will hold the ETH through. Well, I
Come
will
on,
hold the
it,
ETH.
hold it.
I will hold the ETH through the what we perceive to be the top. I've said this, even though I'm in the Bitcoin maxi, I do have a couple shitcoins. And the plan will be to 100% be out of all coins not named a Bitcoin.
Yeah. Me too. I
By
can't wait.
probably by summer, early fall of next year, I will start to DCA out.
By the end of this year.
Once the coins that I hold start to approach their previous
All-time high?
all-time highs, I will start to make
Scale
20,
out.
25% scale outs.
Well, I'm excited.
And then I will hold until the top. And again, what I will do is a majority, probably half and half. I will probably liquidate some because I've had to, I've talked about this. I've had to use some cash lately for some life events. I've been using some cash, so I'll probably replenish some of those cash reserves with some of that, and then the rest will
Into
be
Bitcoin.
spun
Dude,
back
that's gonna
into
be a really crazy podcast when we're
spin
both
back
100%
into
Bitcoin.
spin back to Bitcoin. And again, like my portfolio right now is 95%, so
Bitcoin. Yeah.
more than 95%. It's like 90.
That's crazy.
I only have
I'm 15%
like 3 or 4% altcoins, but
Yeah.
that 3 or 4% is 5 figures.
Yeah.
So I mean actually it might be closer to 5% when we start counting the ETH, because right now I'm not counting the ETH. When I count the ETH, it'll be decent. I mean there's a chance to I mean, I don't want to be overly optimistic because how I feel about shit coins overall, but like there's a chance to make that 6 figures in a year
See what it does.
and a half, maybe.
Yeah, let it ride.
If not,
Maybe get some
it'll
dog whip
be-
hat into your portfolio.
it'll be a nice score. It'll be a nice score, and we'll do our best to pretend it never happened for other purposes.
You gotta- yeah, so I'm gonna give some last minute thoughts before we wrap this up. Is just like this is the time to be dialed in. Like the bull market, like it's gonna get frothy, it's gonna get euphoric. You have to be dialed in. And what I like to do is just not even just like focus on like finance is great, but like you have to stay level headed. So like now is the time. Like I'm gonna be eating I'm gonna be very strict. I'm gonna be very disciplined with my working out. I'm gonna be disciplined with my eating habits, my mentality, like my mental health, because I got to be disciplined. If I want to show success on the charts and I actually want to lock in profits and actually changed my life, when I have life-changing money on the table, I'm going to lock that in. I'm not going to keep pushing the goalposts down the road and wishing and wanting I had more. Just be happy. Once you see like a number that could actually make a life-changing event, take profits and stay dialed in, you know? So like, this isn't the time where I'm going to be like drinking. I'm not going to be smoking. I'm not going to be doing anything. All vices. I'm cutting out all vices because I want to stay focused for this. Because opportunities like this happen once every 4 years. So I don't want to blow this. I don't want to have any regrets coming out of this bull market like I did in 2021, where we just talked about it, round tripping my bags. So that's just like some thoughts. Just like have a plan and stick to your plan and stick to your rules. Stay disciplined to your daily habits. Stay disciplined to your systematic process, and everything will work out. I truly believe it. You know, just make sure you're actually staying disciplined. So, do you have any last minute thoughts? Like, it could be anything, just to give some value.
For people watching us for the first time, follow us on X. Hopefully, you're subscribed to this and like this video. If you want to follow me on X, my handle is at RANALLI_Don. Troy, you want to give him yours?
@ DeFi Pulley.
And I want to end my segment of this podcast just by reiterating to the viewing public that, you know, you've already started to see it. There's a lot of bad actors in our content space. Some of the guys that you think are good actors, some of the guys that you may idolize in this space or take what you think is alpha from, are shitbag scammers. We've already started calling them out. I'm having a personal vendetta against Picoin. I've been going hard at, you know, these guys that
Richard Hart
tweet out Picoin nonsense, a coin that was created 5 years ago that still hasn't been released to the public. And, you know, they're making money on the app. They're making money in social media, engagement farming, and they have a loyal segment of the community that really believe they're going to get this free coin by just clicking on their phone, and therefore defend them and allow them to continue their scam. And people really believe that this coin is going to be worth a lot of money. If it ever does get released, which I don't think it will, it'll probably be worth pennies, and people will just be so disappointed. So they're just prolonging that. So there's one. And then, you know, there's others in the space too. You'll have your people that will engagement farm. There are some people that provided value previously, and it seems like, you know, here's the thing. If you're a content creator in crypto and Bitcoin, you should be providing up like continued growth in value. You shouldn't be saying the same thing in 2024 that you were saying in 2020 or that you were saying in 2018. Like you got to evolve. Like just because you're making a lot of money through your videos or through your sponsorships, like it doesn't give you a free pass to be lazy and to shortchange your audience. And I think that and again, I'm a constant consumer of content and podcasts myself. We should hold these people accountable and call them out when they're doing these types of things. So again, for us, we have people come on here and say that they disagree with things that we say or comment that they don't like some of the things that we do. And I, you know, we don't have a lot of subs right now, so I have a chance to interact, and I like the interaction. So I want to be held accountable. If I'm doing something or saying something that somebody feels is inaccurate or wants to debate, open for that. 100% transparent. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes, but what you're going to get from Troy and Don is continued efforts to improve on a weekly basis. Even if there's 300 people watching, hopefully someday there's 300,000 watching, and we'll continue to strive. That's the goal of this channel. Again, one more time, I'll say it. If you've made it this far, or you're just watching at this point, or you're just clicked on and you're in here in the live right now, please share this, like it, subscribe to it. It helps us out. You know, we're doing this for free. You know, any of you guys that know how the monetization works on YouTube, we're putting in a whole hell of a lot more than we're getting out. But what we're getting out is continuing to learn and continuing to grow ourselves, and hopefully passing that on to people that are watching. Don't trust, verify.
Don't trust, verify.